Ah, the dulcet tones of one Daniel Raditch, who basically is embarrassed or just grumpy. We'll get to him because this is his aftermath after Time Stands Still. Well, you could figure it out. But there was a time when Daniel Raditch was one of the most beloved characters as a teacher. I don't want to get too much into photos and all that, but Mr. Raditch was once a promising English teacher in the Degrassi Junior High series that basically wanted a lot from his students. Yick did not agree with Mr. Raditch's thinking and basically that Raditch was basically being biased towards him. They go through some kind of tests, but Raditch, at least to his credit, admits he can do better, and he tells you that they should both do better, and they both do better. Unfortunately, Joey Jeremiah really had it out for this guy. I mean, Raditch was a decent person and all that, but Joey thought that Raditch was being picky towards him and all that. Despite the fact Raditch was doing all he can to help Joey pass English and grade 8. But unfortunately, it was too little too late. Joey ends up failing. Joey Jeremiah may not have liked Raditch at all, but and also in Degrassi High, Raditch was basically portrayed as the vice principal, not the principal, the vice principal. People forget, and people think that he was the principal in Degrassi Junior High, but no, Raditch was not. Raditch was the vice principal, so basically he was the talking head for the unseen principal. Who the heck is that unseen principal? Was it that lady from Degrassi movie Schools Out? But I don't know why we would never see this principal. But anyway, Dan Raditch had a lot of goodness towards him. Season 1, he wasn't prominently figured in Next Generation as much. He was there to help Emma write a campaign against some news organization that basically wants to do student news and all that. Emma writes her thing basically saying that they're basically biased and all that, but Sean's brother said that they do this and they pay the school enough so that Sean can have a lot of resources and all that. I mean, it's fair to say that, let's agree to disagree. Raditch did have to put his foot down in season 1 when Spitter mooned everyone in the basketball game. Spitter actually was revealed to be taking Ritalin for his ADD. That's why he's called Spitter, because he spins out of control. However, Spinner is told that basically what happened to your pill and all that. Spinner gave the pill to Jimmy so that Jimmy could do better on the basketball team than Sean. But Spinner did not want to hurt Jimmy. So basically he took the fall for everything, which meant that Raj would force Spinner to take his medication in front of Raj so that he knows it can be done. So basically, Raj was decent. Season 2, he was okay. He was prominently figured in the first season's finale. Season premiere, basically, Mother and Child reunion talking to Lucy about Wheels coming back, all that. So he's okay in a sense. But then, one incident makes him very, very angry. We didn't know much about Raditch and his behavior, but when the fight for your right happened in season 2, which he's in a fight with Emma over genetically modified foods, that brings his badness into the limelight. Basically put, Emma and her group of genetically modified food fans basically get a meeting with Raj and basically says that the school should switch over and all that. They put on a very good presentation. Raditch applauds them for their efforts. Sadly, though, Raditch basically tells them that due to budget cuts and the fact that they're lucky to have a cafeteria, Emma and her friends cannot win the argument. But says, good argument, but sorry. Typical Canadians, eh? Saying sorry all the time. Now, Emma, of course, was pissed off, thinking that Raj was basically not willing to listen to them. So basically, she passes out flyers at the school. Raj, not happy, and takes them away. Emma then decides to concede. She knows that she can't win. Good for her. But then they do the stupid cafeteria commercial. I don't know if Raj put it on or basically the cafeteria did. But basically, that gives Emma stand her up. She gets angry about the cafeteria. So why did you do this stupid video and all that? And accidentally knocks Toby's tray away, which leads to a food fight, which basically is about opportunity instead of other things. Sadly, though, Raditch is too angry at that and basically puts the blame on Emma's flyers and all that, despite the fact that it was just opportunity knocking. Emma is suspended for the rest of the day. She's pissed off with Raditch. Rightfully so. I mean, all that. Now, Emma, of course, is blamed in a sense because Emma didn't know about budgets and all that. I mean, school authorities have to deal with budgets all the freaking time, and it's not pretty. Sadly, though, we kind of feel like Raditch is a villain and all that. And basically, Emma decides to protest the fact that her voice wasn't heard. She does it off school grounds, but Raditch is still pissed at her. So basically, he forces Emma to make a decision. You apologize for the food fight and everything that's gone on today, or you're suspended for a while. Emma actually comes up with a speech she gives Raditch on cue cards. Raditch looks it over and says, I'm glad we came to an agreement. And basically, Emma starts by saying she takes responsibility for the food fight, but says she can't completely do something about it. She says that the genetically modified food things, you hate it, you hate it. You like it, you like it. Your opinions, I can handle, which is fine. But then Emma basically then says that I have a right to protest, and basically I was not happy with how I was handled. Raditch looks stunned. So basically, Raditch is more angry, is upset, but he's more physically upset when Emma says that, and if this kind of thing gets me suspended for the rest of the week, then so be it. Liberty was shocked too. I mean, I don't know why. I think Raditch basically plays Liberty like a fiddle in a sense, knowing that Liberty is a yes man, if you will. I mean, could he be taking advantage of Liberty's nature? I don't know. And if you think that's racist, that's false. It's just basically knowing that Liberty will suck up to him, in a sense. So Raditch basically suspends her. But I think the main reason why he suspends her is because he's upset that Emma not only refused to completely apologize for everything, but she basically called him out, basically telling the students about what punishment she faces. So basically, she called him out, and Raditch is upset that Emma was willing to take a suspension, and basically, in his mind, probably have the students go against him. So basically, he's pissed off. I know that I should be focusing on the aftermath of the shooting and all that. But to understand Raditch, you have to go back to the beginning. That's why I'm doing this, in case you don't know. So anyway, Raditch is basically portrayed as a bad person. However, at the end of season 2, when Craig has his father die, Raditch is there for the funeral, and Raditch is there when Craig goes bananas at the luau dance thinking he's seeing his father. Basically, he tells everyone, leave Craig alone. He needs to get out of his system. I kind of like Raditch for that because, Raditch was also there for Wheels when his adoptive parents died. He was there for a few other funerals. I think Raditch was always there for his students, more so than not. He even made a cameo in School's Out, although it was an unseen cameo. I was like, geez, I would have loved to see him. Yeah, Raditch was a decent person and all that. Unfortunately, some people disagree. Season 3, he decides to go bananas and give people Saturday detention. I mean, for the reasons that they all did their stuff. Like, Jimmy and Toby deserved to get in trouble for changing grades on a school computer. Fair enough. Hazel deserves punishment for looking at some very curious sites and all that. Ellie does deserve punishment for cutting class, although Ellie did it on purpose to get the newspaper article she wanted. Sean kind of deserves to be punished for stealing from the school and basically for yelling at Raditch. And, you know, like, they all should be in trouble. They all did something bad, but to put them in Saturday detention, that's not a smart idea. There's nothing wrong with a couple of days of suspension, and there's nothing wrong with week-long detentions. As long as it's not a suspension, it's not going to be that hurtful. But yeah, they wanted to do the Breakfast Club send up. And, they made Raditch look kind of human in that one. I mean, it's funny him doing the Swiss ball exercises in the gym and all that. And then, for some strange reason, Raditch, who usually is well spoken, basically says it's a Swiss ball from Switzerland to Hazel. It was like, what the fuck? That's terrible dialogue from Daniel Woods. So basically, yeah, what Raditch is trying to split hairs, trying to make sure that everyone falls in line and all that. Snake, who's missed time at school due to chemo, comes back and basically Raditch tells him about how the school's fallen in disarray. Simpson basically says that he knows, but all the kids are good kids. They shouldn't be punished for one stupid little mistake and all that. I mean, as big as like changing grades on a school computer was and all that. But however, when you look at it, it's basically what you say is what you get. I mean, Raj was okay in the end of season 3. Like he even was at a restaurant that Spinner, Ashley, and Paige were at. Oh, bit accidentally. It's like Raj is playing hooky. That's not the Danny Raj we know. So anyway, season 4 comes into play, and basically, now my rule of thumb is that I'm not going to play you clips from the previous episodes. So basically, I'll describe in detail. So basically, Dan Woods in season 4, like Raditch basically is chewed by Marco and Alex for letting Rick into the school. I mean, he says that Terry isn't at Degrassi, so he can't talk about her situation. Fair enough. And then he basically said, to my knowledge, he hasn't been charged with anything. And that's the simple part. If he was charged with something, I think Raditch would have definitely been told not to let him in. And, as I said in a few Rick Murray videos, is that basically it was hard. It would have been hard to prosecute Rick in this situation. I think the school board or the police would have told Raditch. Of course, they're all mad at Raditch. Emma takes some anger towards Raditch because basically Raditch is protecting Rick. And Raditch basically tells Emma to stay out of this. This isn't one of your stupid crusades. I mean, he still has that weight of being angry at Emma. I think he's just tired of Emma's crusades ruining things for him. He wants to put Emma in line and finds out that Emma is not willing to play. So basically, yeah, he's pissed off. And I mean, what happened? Like, he was protecting Rick, and then all of a sudden he doesn't protect Rick? But you got to remember, when I said this in Time Stand Still, is that Rick being straightforward would have helped the matters. Rick was not straightforward. He didn't get to the major point about Jimmy. If he said, oh, Jimmy's bullying me, that would have been easy peasy lemon frickin' squeezy, and we would have been fixed. The things would have been fixed. But no, Rick didn't. As much as you blame Raditch for this kind of stuff, because, all that. And yeah, Raditch should have just said, well, Rick, I'll look into it, but you got to make a better choice making friends. Fair enough. I can understand that. It says that I'll still, but, come back to me when something serious happens. I mean, Rick screwed up as much as Raditch did in that situation. And then basically, Raditch was trying to make amends after realizing that the Painted Feathers happened and that Rick was right about things happening and all that. Maybe Rick was reporting bullying and not in his own way. Of course, Snake is upset that Raditch is trying to pin blame on other people. So basically, Raditch basically tells Snake that this is not preschool and making friends is not part of the curriculum. Missing the point. This is a well-learned guy and he misses the point on that? How did he not see that? And of course, Snake went ballistic on Raditch, saying that your hindsight now kicks in because of the shooting. And Raditch says, I have to handle 700 students. How was I supposed to know one student was going to overreact to spilled paint? But you got to realize that Raditch could have done a few things. One simple thing Raditch could have done was basically told a staff member saying that, please make sure Rick's out of the school and all that. I don't want him in the school. Because, maybe maybe Rick would not have shot somebody. Maybe Raj was that way. Although that could be kind of strange. But Raj did a terrible job. And Snake had a right to be pissed. I mean, after hearing how Emma nearly got shot, can you imagine if Emma was shot or even died? What Raj would have faced? Snake would have buried Raj in the sand. And that's what happens. Now, cue the two-parted Foisey scary. I know that it's the B plot behind the great Craig and Ashley. Right to be upset. I mean, a kid died in his school. Another kid's could be potentially dead too. Who knows? And the school is basically being shamed on the 6 o'clock news. I mean, I get Raditch. I really do. And all that. And Liberty and JT wanted Dracula to be a poignant scene about how the power of good happens. But I mean, Dan Woods is kind of a tightwad as Raditch. With recent offense. And Raj has a point. But here's the part where he screwed up with the aftermath. Basically, he refused to listen to their accusations. Now, people forget that unless you're a Degrassi fan, like a Degrassi Next Generation fan. No, Degrassi High fan, pardon. In Degrassi High, when Cole Tanner went to the bathroom and killed himself, basically there was a lot of terrible things that happened. Raj actually calmed down a lot of students in one of the classrooms. Like Joanne basically says, I could have been there for him. And basically Raj says, I don't know what you could have done, Joanne, to help the situation. So basically he makes this poignant speech about how everyone hurts sometimes. But the best thing to do is not to commit suicide. Because once you do, everything is over. Basically, it can't be undone. I mean, I liked how Raj handled the school after that situation. I mean, did it not stick in his memory bank about what would have happened like 12, 13 years later? I mean, after all, there's a lot of similarities between the Cole Tanner situation and the Rick Murray situation. Is that Snake was also there for shooting. Remember, Snake found Claude in the bathroom, and Snake also was talking to Raditch about things with Rick Murray. The problem I see is that, it's weird how Snake and Raditch always bump into each other and basically try to pinpoint things on each other and all that. I mean, they had a talent show during the school shooting, like the school death of Claude Tanner. They just basically turned it into a benefit. Spike was the one who said that we should put on the stuff, but we should make it a benefit. So as to both worlds. If Raditch had basically known about this, or if anyone else would have known the best of it, you could have made the case that Raj could have had it as a benefit. Degrassi as a Dracula as a benefit. So basically for maybe victims of bullying or gun violence or something against teenage violence. There you go. Raj would have got some kind of retribution. But unfortunately, he decided to make it a musical and to his students and basically just saying that I can figure everything out. I don't need your help. And I don't need your interference in a sense. But with the point being that the drama club refuses to do all that, that just leads to something else. Ego. And Raj with an ego? Really? Yep, I'm afraid so. Raj might have an ego problem. After all, he's the principal of a school that's now being laughed at because of, Rick Murray's situation and all that. I don't blame Raditch for feeling upset that, his school's now a joke. And basically, some people sympathize. Some people basically said that this school's trouble. What would you be like if you were a principal of a school like that? So unfortunately for Raditch, he feels angry. And, he's trying to make himself better, but at the cost of his students. Liberty and JT are trying to prove that his methods are wrong. But we'll see. Next scene. There you go. Basically, JT was willing to stand back and basically play by Raj's rules. Liberty said that, no, we're doing this. You can't weasel yourself out, JT. And so basically, that's what she does. She basically says it to his face, and Raditch is like shocked that someone would say that to his face, and basically gives him money detention. But of course, this is Raditch's problem. He doesn't listen to the students. He basically thinks he knows what's best for the school and all that. Now, to be fair, when he was an educator in the 1980s, it was prominent that basically educators didn't really listen to their students as much or understand their students as much. Now remember, this is 2004 when this storyline hit. If it happened like 15 years later, like in 2019, things would have been different. Maybe Raditch would have had to basically listen to his students, and basically the students' opinions matter. I mean, it's partially how he was brought up in the education system, and it's partially his own fucking ego. But he screwed up and all that. And basically, he doesn't like when people call him out on it. He didn't like it when Emma called him out on the things of genetically modified foods. He didn't like it that Snake called him out for his lack of interest towards Rick. And he doesn't like it when Liberty basically yells at him. So basically, we're left to wonder, what's the school you're going to be like? But in Bark at the Moon, we actually find, by especially Manny and Marco, by basically saying that now I've been reassigned. And his reaction is that basically he didn't like the fact that he was reassigned. And the fact of the matter is that, he was upset. He probably thought that the school board was going to basically help him out by basically saying that, this is stupid and all that. But believe me, things are not what they seem to be. Now, a lot of questions do hit my head. It's like, I know the school board decided to get rid of him, but at what point? My thinking is that maybe the school board wanted to get rid of Raditch after the shooting had happened, and basically the aftermath or whatever he did in the aftermath, even if it was positive, was not going to be enough. Basically, that, students and teachers would have been asked what to do with Raditch. And Raditch would have had been honest with everybody. Because if Raditch wasn't honest, then basically, why did he get reassigned? If he wasn't honest, Raditch would have lost his teaching license forever. And then he would be in deep shit. But let's not forget that, Raditch probably knew that he screwed up, and basically he was trying to play out the strings as best as he can. Basically, I think that he was hoping that the school board may have gave him a mea culpa, but no, it wasn't that way. Basically, he avoided Rick, and that's what was costly. Even though Rick basically did it to himself in a sense that he didn't get Raditch on board, it was Rick's fault. Raditch should have listened. He should have tried to listen. And I think the school board realized it by doing interviews and all that. Now, I know Simpson would have been interviewed, but I don't think Simpson wanted Raditch's job. I think Simpson just wanted Raditch to take accountability. That's what I think. But basically, Raditch knew that his time was up and all of that. So, yeah. I mean, I wonder how they came up to it. Maybe the school board may have had to pay Rick's parents off, and then basically one of the points that had been made is the removal of Daniel Raditch as principal. Maybe Rick's parents were responsible for why Raditch had to be dumped off. And I agree. I mean, Raditch basically did it to himself. It wasn't anyone's fault but his own. And that's the parents have to take, the teachers have to take responsibility for their actions too. Vampad said in their video about Raditch is that basically this show was about the students and all that, but the teachers have to take, and the adults, they have to deal with tragedy too. I mean, the Murrays basically were forced out of Toronto, and then basically, Raditch, his head had to fall. So anyway, I'll leave you with Raditch's send-off, which I found okay in a sense and all that. Now, coming from a guy who, like before 2017, wanted to find Daniel Raditch and punch him in the fucking head, and to say that, you're why Rick did this. Your inattentiveness. Fuck you. But, the past 3 years of stuff, I've changed my tone. I think he should have had a better ending, but it's hard to give him a better ending and all that. So basically, Raditch is rewarded with something. I don't know what the hell he got from the school.